one-day webinar with the collaboration with the Institution Simulation Council under the topic Pitching Event for Ideas, Scouted and Linkage with Innovation Ambassador for Mentorship Support. I heartily welcome our Secretary, Dr. Linkage Retinam, in his absentia, and our Director, Durai Retinam, in his absentia, and our Principal Sir, Dr. P. Balagurusamy, and our Chief Guest, Dr. P. U. Krishna, the Professor and Head of Agriculture Microbiology, University of Agriculture Sciences, Dharwad, Karnataka, and my dear students and my department staff members to this wonderful webinar program. Thank you all. Now I cordially invite our Principal Sir to deliver his presidential address.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You can start your.
Okay. The most respected resource person of this wonderful IIC and the Department of Zoology's innovative program, Dr. P. Krishna, Professor of Agricultural Microbiology and University Head, Department of Agricultural Microbiology, Dharwad, Karnataka. Respected Madam Renuka Devi, Head of the Department of Zoology of this prestigious institution, and all other faculty fraternity of the Department of Zoology. Thambi Raj Mohan, the backbone for conducting this type of wonderful programs in our reputed institution. All other members of the IIC of our college, my dear participants from various states of India, and our own students, very good morning to you all. First and foremost, on behalf of our most respected Secretary, Lion Dr. K. Retinam, and our Director, Thambi Durai, and my own behalf, I wholeheartedly congratulate and appreciate Dr. P. U. Krishna of Dharwad, Karnataka, for having received our invitation, and he is going to deliver a wonderful lecture on pitching event for ideas scouted and linkage with innovation ambassadors for mentorship support. I wholeheartedly appreciate him. Sir is having very good knowledge in the field of this main theme of the seminar. And one more thing I want to express here. He is going to deliver a wonderful lecture without getting any remuneration from our institution. On that line, I am very much happy, and also I am very thankful to you, Sir Professor. Regarding when we come to the point, this institution innovation cell is a very innovative idea of the Department of Education, formerly known as the Human Resource Development Department. They started this IIC some 1 decade before, and they instructed all the higher educational institutions to start this cell only to enhance the academic knowledge and also the co-curricular knowledge of the individual student and also the teacher. Entrepreneurship development likewise. So on that line, because of the guidelines given by UGC and the Department of Education, we established this institution innovation cell. Definitely this will pave way to get financial assistance from the higher educational institutions like higher educational authorities like UGC, ICSSR, and ICHR. Regarding this program, startup scouting is the process of searching, identifying, evaluating, and selecting the best startups to work with. Scouting and engaging startups offers large companies a chance to boost their chances at success, whether it's to drive innovation in their core business or expand within adjacent opportunities by leveraging the capabilities of outside resources. The task bringing an idea to someone with the power to do something with it called a pitch. Pitching in business refers to presenting business ideas to another party. Example ideas are agricultural farm business, organic fertilizer, flower business, mushroom farming, sunflower farming, poultry farming, etc. The idea of this particular session will be linked with innovation or startup. Some productive items should be emerged from students' thought process. I think that definitely this seminar, under the able guidance of Professor Dr. P.U. Krishnaraj, will help all the participants to enhance their knowledge in this particular field. With these few words, once again, I appreciate and congratulate Dr. P.U. Krishnaraj. Thank you, Mandal.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful welcome address. Here, I want to just convey one important thing, that Dr. P. Krishnaraj, he's a very good friend of mine, and I know him for the past 6 to 7 years, because during the completion of my PhD degree, and when I was in the critical situation of drawing the phylogenetic tree, and just I sent my report to him, and he helped me a lot to complete my PhD degree. And he is a very, very wonderful person, and a lovely person, and a humble person, and a down-to-earth person. And he is always a very knowledgeable person. So when I convey that is to accept my invitation, at the time itself he accepted our invitation, and now he is on the screen. Now I welcome Jiva ma'am to introduce our speakers.
Good morning to one and all. It's my great privilege and gratitude to introduce eminent resource person, Dr. P.U. Krishnaraj, Professor and Head of College.
ஒரு ஜிப் தான் நம்ம இது பண்ணாண்டா வேற என்ன காலே வேண்டா
Good morning to one and all. It's my great privilege and gratitude to introduce our today's eminent resource person, Dr. P.U. Krishnaraj, Professor and Head, Department of Agriculture Microbiology, College of Agriculture, University of Agriculture, Dharwad, Karnataka. He had undergone his UG and PG Agri degree in US Bangalore, and he has done his PhD in IARA in Agricultural Microbiology, New Delhi. He had his postdoctoral program in Alfred University, USA, in the field of molecular biology. And he has received so many awards, and he was a gold medalist in MSc Agri, and he has received 3 times University Incentive Award, US Dharwad in 2004, 2006, and 2020. He also got Fellow Society of Applied Biotechnology Award from Tamil Nadu in 2014, and Fellow Society of Biocontrol Award from Bangalore in 2015. And he has been member of various boards and various programs. He has been a member of a District Biosafety Committee, Editorial Board, Indian Journal of Oilseed Research, Academic Council, Mahatma Phule Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, Raguri, Maharashtra, and the project coordinator, ICAR Niche Area of Excellence. And he has been the DBT nominee in Karnataka University and was a nodal officer, ICAR UAS Dharwad. And he has been the coordinator of World Bank ICAR UASD IDP project and in charge of GOK KB's ICCIF UAS Dharwad. And apart from that, he has been awarded funds from various programs, and nearly he has received 16 HOC projects, and he has been sanctioned lakhs and crores for his programs. Hats off you, sir. And let me list a few of the programs or projects which have been sanctioned. And he has been sanctioned 17.48 lakhs from DST New Delhi for the project title General Characterization of Mineral Phosphate Solubility in Acetobacter, and he has been awarded 1.80 crores from ICAR for ICAR project on rice milk, and 1.25 crores has been sanctioned by DBT New Delhi for HRD program in agricultural biotechnology, and 5.50 crores from GOI Go program and nanotechnology. That's up to you, sir, once again. And apart from that, he has been guided over 35 students for master degree and 8 PhD students. And regarding his publications, he has published over 110 publications in various national, international, reputed journals. And he has also acted as a resource person for training and repertoire programs. So I think it is the right time we have received such a wonderful, excellent person for this Institution Innovation Council program. On behalf of our department and our college management and our principal, I welcome you, sir, and I feel very proud to invite you for this session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thanks.
Sir?
Yes.
Yeah, can we start the program? Yeah, that is your presentation. Let us start. I accordingly invite our guest speaker to present his lecture.
Please remove your slide so that I can put mine. Hello?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Disabled. Your screen sharing has been disabled. The host has disabled the screen sharing, so please enable the screen sharing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, sir. Yeah, you can share. Yeah.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Shall we go ahead?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think the entire country is mourning. And I thought it's befitting that I put my first slide in respect to one of the greatest soldiers this country has ever produced, Bipin Rawat, India's first chief defense staff, who just passed away in very tragic circumstances. Going before his might, he has kept the shores, the boundaries of India many a times very safe. While he was at work, we were happy sleeping and very happy running around. So a big salute to our soldier, and let me start my soul and pray God to rest his soul in eternal peace. Now, let me first thank the organizers, the GTN Arts College, especially the Institution Innovation Council and the Department of Biotechnology, Principal Dr. Bala Guru Sami, and of course the professor from Department of Zoology, Dr. Renuka Devi, who's a long distance student of mine. Been helping her with a couple of her programs when she was a PhD student. It's she has given me this opportunity to talk to you on. I have just made it very simple: ideas, innovations, and mentorship. And while thanking all of you, including the administrative officers of the college, the mentors of the GTN Arts College, and all the other staff members who are there viewing this particular program, a big welcome to you all. Now, let me start the whole program, and the talk has been specially framed with the UG students in mind. So as I go on, I'll share my ideas, and as the principal, you've been striving hard to initiate or encourage the students towards self-employment. So that is where I'm trying to put in. Let me apologize in the beginning for not presenting an in detail or in-depth analysis of the entire ecosystem because the time is short, number one, and this will be the one of the first lectures that the students will be hearing from me. So I will be giving a bird's eye view of the entire concepts of pitching ideas, innovations, and mentorship. And part of the talk also is aimed at the faculty members so that they get an idea of what we have been doing at our university and how we have been able to capitalize on the interest of the undergraduate students towards mentorship. So once again, thanks to all at the GTN Arts College, and a very warm welcome to all of you, and a very warm welcome to all online, especially my dear young students. Well, it all starts with where you are right now. So I always ask the youngsters who study in the colleges, what is their identity? So they have only one identity, and that's being a student. Now, while you graduate from being a student and go into the real world, there has to be a deep desire and a will to change oneself to suit the entire ecosystem that's presented before you. So I thought one of the examples that I could give is that of K. Panabeka. You can see that she is actually an actress. She has done a lot of television shows, which has been very highly rated, like the Grey's Anatomy and the Law and Order. But while her sister continued to be in the acting business, she went on to graduate from a high school, left the acting skills, and then is now studying and eventually is going to become a zoologist. So I thought this is befitting to the Department of Zoology to tell you that here is a person who has come from acting to zoology. So zoology holds a great potential for her and every one of you there. So I thought it's befitting to tell you that. Now, let me quickly tell you where we stand with respect to the country. Because while you start thinking about what one has to be, what one has to become, remember you are in a situation where you're surrounded. Now, what is it that surrounds you? What is it that is in front of you? What is at the back of you? What is at the right and the left of you? This is something that you have to understand and assimilate it before you start going into the real world. Okay, to this talk that's is all on about innovation and mentorship and so on and so forth. So let's see where we stand with respect to all these elements. So when you look at the innovation elements with respect to the global ranking, we are nowhere near 1, 2, and 3. You can see the countries of Sweden or USA, Norway, Canada, Israel, Switzerland, and Hong Kong, Korea doing a lot of innovation elements and so on and so forth. But then, you have to look at also the global priority and technologies. And that, priority areas right now where you have the innovation going on is in the technology development, the areas of climate change, biodiversity, ocean resources, security, that's especially about the cyber security, industry and corporate governance, geopolitical and geoeconomic cooperation. But we have to understand when you talk about being an ecosystem where you want to emerge as an innovator, you have to understand what are the emerging technologies. Now, these emerging technologies you can understand are the artificial intelligence, the IoTs, the advanced materials that you can use in various manufacturing industries, the smart grids, autonomous vehicles, drones, a huge data available in the world, and you need to do the analysis of it. A lot of precision medicine has to be done because the world of medicine is a complex situation right now, and a whole lot of genomics has to be understood because you have to deliver the right kind of medicine to the right kind of patients, the right kind of pesticides to the crops, and so on and so forth. So genomics is another area which is going to be a global priority in order to develop technologies in various fields. Now, if you look at the innovation factors in selected developed and developing countries, you can understand that the number of researchers per million, we are very, very small, 216 researchers per million. And the scientific articles we publish in scientific and technical journals are far below the standards that you see either in China or in USA. But the problem lies in the R&D expenditure. Expenditure is, when you look at the percentage of the GDP, it's hardly 0.62. And this is something that the government is now focusing their attention on and trying to improve the R&D expenditure and enhance it so that it comes to the global level. The exports you can see are also quite abysmal. It's about a 7% exports in high-tech areas. And the patents filed also, when you compare that to China and USA, which is in millions, we have in thousands, about 45,000 and so. Trademark registers also, you look at the position, we are quite a bit similar to that of France, but you can see the population, if you look at the per population, then it is going to be low. When you look at the industrial science, designs and application filed, you can see that these are numbers which are not very encouraging as far as we are concerned. Okay, now ecosystem. This is where we need to, the students have to understand. I just told them, you have to stand in a place and look at what surrounds you. You can understand that you are sitting in a country, or you're standing in a country, or you're being in a country which is the second largest ecosystem of startups in the world. And this is expected to grow at something like 10 to 12%. Right now, there are 20,000 startups in the country, out of which about 4,750 of these are technology-led startups. In 2016 alone, about 1,000 new startups were formed, implying on an average 3 to 4 startups were born every day. This is something which has to sink in the minds of the students. You are in a country which is progressing towards being one of the major startup capitals of the world. And in the ensuing slides, you will know why I'm mentioning this. A more fruitful strategy to look at is the unicorns. And what are unicorns? Unicorns are privately held startup companies which are valued over 1 million. This word has been popularized by Alan Lee that you can see on your screen. And as of November 2021, there are around 900 unicorns around the world. And as on October 2021, India is the world's fastest growing startup ecosystem with 60 unicorn startups. So you can see that how well we have positioned ourselves to make a dent in the world economy as well as the Indian economy. This is something that every student of this country has to understand. So go to the next slide. While I tell you that this is what we are around, I'm not going and giving a little more. There's a lot of more details that I can pump in at this point of time, but I do not want to do that. At this point of time, when I finished my last slide, all I want you to know is that you are sitting in a country which is one of the best and the fastest startup growing countries in the world. Keep that in mind when you look at the next slides. Let's go to the mentorship. This is a key area in the whole success of any in an adventure. I would call it adventure by the youngsters and elderly people. All of us know that Kentucky Fried Chicken, the person started when he was 58 odd in age and went on to become one of the richest person in the world. So it's not only that the youngsters, but also the elders can look at the world around and look for mentorship to start their own startup companies. So mentoring is a very, very important role. And we at the University of Agricultural Sciences, Dharwad, have taken it very, very seriously. And as you go on, you will understand what seriousness this university has taken, and then how we need to gather every one of the institutions in this country to at least have a couple of startups at their backyard so that our country progresses and becomes one of the best in the world. So when you look at a mentor, we are talking, remember, only about entrepreneurship. The mentoring we are talking about is entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is all about looking at an idea and how you can capitalize on that idea so that you can bring out certain products and how you can make those products a successful venture that will make you money. Why you need that money, we'll come to that a little later. Okay, you can look at this slide, and I'm not going to read out everything, but it only says that the mentor has to be a very trusted and honest person. So this is something that every one of us has to look forward to. You have to identify a very honest and a trusted advisor. And this you can understand when you look at the different mentoring programs that this country has, the different startup companies that this country has, a lot of expertise that are available in this country. And many of these startups who have gone on to become the unicorns can be one of the trusted mentors to you. And I know of people who can mentor a lot of youngsters and are mentoring a lot of youngsters while they themselves are going on to become larger entrepreneurs. So we have a lot of such trusted and honest advisors, a long list of them in this country, and you have to look forward to interacting with them to take your dream forward. So while you are in the early stage, while you are in the mid stage, or while you are in the later stages of beginning, they are the beginners. And each startup will be given around 40 lakhs. And this also will facilitate equal matching by an accelerator or any other investor. So you can look at 40 lakhs as an amount that you can get provided you have an idea. Okay. And this program also aims to further the startup growth, which is now the largest unicorn valued at around 168 billion. These companies or these accelerators will also provide customer and investor connect. So they will not only allow you, give you money to develop your product, they will also connect you to the investor. They will also connect you to the customer for about 3 years. So students there and people who are interested in getting into this ecosystem, there is a lot of such things in the real world. You have to understand it. You have to get into this particular system and then understand the total. This is one such accelerator. There are plenty of them in the real world. Now, how this startup ecosystem can help India to become a global economy. And that's important because as such, India holds a very unique position in the world. And that's wherein you are all involved. Remember, you are the people that we look forward to take this world to, take this country to a better place to live, to a happy place to live, to a healthy place to live, to a very beautiful ecosystem to live. And why are we depending upon you people? Because 54% of India's population is below the age of 25, and that's you. So if every one of you think something different, think something logical, think something that's very, very economical, think that something very healthy to the environment, remember this country will be a wonderful place to live. Looking forward to every one young population, understand that you can make a difference. And therefore, we need to capitalize. You all need to capitalize your skill, your ability to drive the nation forward through the innovation and commercial output. How can this happen? It just can happen. It just can happen. And it's just that you have to have the will to understand that as an individual, you have a strong potential. That's something that you have to understand. Okay. More of these jargons, but I'll just quickly get back to the Bangalore, which is featured at 30 global tech hubs in the world. And so much so right now, India stands at the 20th spots amongst the top 100 countries that have been ranked in the global startup ecosystem index based on quantity, quality, and business environment. Recently, you must have heard that some of the people, they now want to move to India rather than some other countries because the entire environment of business is growing up towards in the positive direction. So this is something that you youngsters have to understand that yes, there is a change that is happening and you have to be a part of the change. And to come up with Karnataka, where I am from, it is also the world's largest technology and innovation cluster and to a home to about 400 global R&D centers. The startup initiative was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 16th of January 2016. And the startups in India are now attracting significant funding from global investors. So that's more important, that we are trying to get money into the country. And that's very important because we have provided a lot of money to the outside world and they have become more rich. But it's time now that money comes into this country and we become richer and happier and healthier. And India also has an advantage of being one of the fastest growing economies in the world in the last decade. And this is definitely going to continue according to so many reports that we have been reading. So you as an youngster is positioned in one of the best climate that we need to self-employ yourself. And remember, self-employment is one thing, making money is one thing, but providing employment to the others is a big thing. Be a part of that particular initiative. And this is what I said again, I go back. So some of the initiatives that I quickly go through, this is only about 4 or 5 I have just listed. The startup initiative, and what it does, it recognizes startups and creates an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship. It addresses the issue in 3 categories. One is compliance, legal support, funding, and tax grants, and provide you a linkage with incubation in industry. So this is something that Startup India initiative does. And a lot of people have already taken up this particular initiative of the government of India, and they have done wonders. You can get into the system. Then there is Atal Innovation Mission, which many schools and research centers, NGOs, and MSMEs, the district and state levels have been called to create. These are small missions which will allow a little bit of amount that is to be provided to the innovation centers, incubation centers, to the mentors to develop products that can be taken to the market. There are several Atal Innovation Missions. If your college doesn't have one, I think you need to now get into this Atal Innovation Mission system and then get some grants and then develop an Atal Innovation Lab for your own university college if it doesn't have already one. And then there is a support for all patenting, which is known as a SIP EIT, which will help you to develop patents. And patent is one of the most important things in the entire concept of commercialization of technology, because you have to protect your technology so that somebody else doesn't steal it. So this particular program of the government, that is the SIP EIT, will help in providing you the required expertise in international patent filing. And then you have the Prisms, which are promoting innovations in individual startup and SMEs. So these are they are people who look at very innovative ideas towards prototype development. The idea can be in various fields like green energy, industrial materials, waste management, affordable healthcare, clean energy, or any other technology-based fields. Then you have another scheme called Aspire, which is again for promotion of rural industries and entrepreneurship. And this especially creates jobs in the agro industry. Now, agro industry doesn't mean only agriculture. I mean, the word agriculture of social, you are a part of the zoology. Zoology is a part of the agriculture itself, and so you don't have to think that when you look at Aspire, it is only for those people who have finished their bachelors in agriculture. No, anybody who has an interest in agriculture, who can build technologies, who can develop technologies, who can contribute towards augmenting the total production and create value addition to any one of these products can come in, or build equipments for the farmers, reduce their drudgery, and so on and so forth. And quite a bit of percentage of money is given. About 50% of the cost of plant and machinery is given for setting up these kinds of incubation centers. So these are some of the things that you have to keep in mind when you look at the while you are in the base itself. I mean, I'm filling you, but you might start today as 0 day. But then when you climb in and say 365 days and 365 into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you have to decide for yourselves where I want to be. But provided you have these information, and I'll tell you, you're starting now and the climate is very good. And so by the time you grow up, maybe 1 year later or 2 years later, there can be several other programs that the government and private industries, banks can come out so that they can support you. So, and another important thing is, Dindigul is a small city, as I'm told, isn't it, Renuka? Dr. Renuka, is it small city, right? Dr. Renuka, is it a small city? Well, I'm not able to hear you. I assume that it is a small two-tier city, but also, tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities can also become
Small city
okay.
only, sir.
And they can become, even the tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities can be. I'll give you my own example a couple of amendments later, how they can become. For example, ours is a tier 2 city. And I did tell you about a young lady who came, not young, she was quite about 48 at that time when she came to us. And she started a company, a startup, but she moved on. And remember, I didn't complete it. Today, she hosts a huge facility right in Dharwad. Right in Dharwad, she hosts a huge facility, a multi-crore company. And she is the founding director of a multi-crore company now. And now they are manufacturing 2 important COVID vaccines right in Dharwad. So it's a tier 2 cities, and she is employing almost about 16 PhD students. 16 PhD students she has on her role, and quite a number of youngsters. So about 50% of the 16,500 startup companies registered by March 2019 were based in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So even in a small place, I don't want to get out of Dindigul. Okay, fine, thank you. I can start something in Dindigul, and that's what it is. You can start something small in something small, and then you can become big while Dindigul goes big as well. I mean, I'm just telling you, and a lot of people from various cities in the world, the country, and you can all go back to your respective places. It's a small village. A small village can become rural entrepreneur, and a big city can be tier 2, tier 3 entrepreneur. So I've already told you this. I've already told you some of this is skipped. Okay. Now let me give you some examples. I've told you what is the background, what is the kind of facilities that are available and the kind of things that are available to see. But this is not exhaustive. As I told that I just have 1 hour, number one. Number two, these are some of the things that as individuals you have to get interest and then get into it. Once you get the interest, it's not required for us to keep everything around. Once you get interest, you dig into it, and then you will find gold there. dig into it, and you will find a lot of other kinds of interventions that you can do. Let me give examples, like, as a small person, maybe I can tell you, as a small person, in the sense, I'm not talking about in terms of your height or weight or your amount that you have in the pocket. What I'm saying is in your age. So you are all students right now, and then you are dreaming. Okay, now how do I start a business? Now I'll give you two examples. One with a micro, because I am belonging to the microbial world, although I'm macro. And one of the examples that we can think about is a winery, and how to go about steps to success of winery. Now, when you look at wine making, there's a lot of complexities involved. It's easy to make a wine at home, provided you take care of the contaminants. Well, it's not difficult to make wine as well. Well, then, okay, I am going to the world. For example, if you talk about myself, I have one of my good friend's daughter who has now gone to, which is that place, Scotland, and she's going to learn all about brewery, and she's going to come back and set up a brewing industry in this country, and probably in Dharwad or whatever it is. Now, what kind of thoughts would have gone into her head when she opted for a master's in brewing? So she finished her bachelor's in biotechnology. She actually finished her BTech in biotechnology from one of the best institutes that we have in Hubli, Dharwad. And she said, I'm not going to sit quiet. I'm not going to join a company. She, of course, did spend some time in some companies, but said that she's going to go on her own. So she went to do her master's. So the first step that she has taken is, let me go and create a company. So you've got to choose a company, and a business entity and a nomenclature. So because branding is important, a name can go a long way in branding. So you have to start thinking all those things, because this process of thinking about an industry that you want to set up is something like, it's a dream, and you have to walk that dream. While you walk also, you will have to start dreaming about it, thinking about it, like what should I do? What's the name I have to give? Because many a times, even the name attracts a lot of attention. And then the next one is, should I start a company on my own with a sole proprietorship, or a limited company, or a corporation? So and that depends upon how large you want to have the company or how small you want to have the company. So you'll have to start thinking about it. And then once you do that, okay, let me say that I am going to choose a name. Let me say I'm going to use the name Yoga. Okay, for my product. Okay, I'm going to make a tea, and a tea powder or a tea based to this one, and or a winery or whatever it is. Let me say I'm going to put Yoga into it, the name. Then, okay, let me take the next step. I want to start a limited company. No, I'll not bother about it. I'm going to start as a sole proprietor. I'm going to invest my own money into it. Let me start small. And then while you do that, you write a business plan. That means, what is the industry in the real world? What is the wine industry in the real world? What is the problem that wine industries have? Why is it that we are not getting a good wine from many industries in this world? So what is it that you need to do? What is the problem? What is the target problem that you have to address in order to make your product very good? So you have to do an extensive research about the world in front of you in terms of winery. How many wineries are there? What kind of wines are produced? Where are they sourcing their materials from? And I mean, how much of wine does the country take, and how much of wine is exported? What kind of wines are they looking at? And a lot of information you'll have to start putting on your board. So make a board and keep on labeling whatever you want to get. You want to have a team of it and start dreaming. Team of what? Wine tasters. They're going to be costly around. So what kind of wine tasters would you like to have? Because tasting is very, very, very important in these kinds of products, like the wine and so on and so forth. Then bottling line. Then the bank account. What kind of bank account you need? You need to have a bank account which is not your personal. Suppose you're investing your personal money as well. You have to start operating a separate bank account for it. Then payroll for your staff. You're not going to start alone anyway. You're going to put your one or two people, and then you will have to look at shipping and marketing and insurance and all those things. And these are required when you want to develop on your own. But then remember, the same vineyard can be put it in a very different way. The same wine can be manufactured in a very different way. Okay, the same vineyard can be looked at in a different way. You don't own a vineyard. You go to people who own the vineyard and get the grapes from them. Then, because then they take care of all the costs of keeping those wines. Then there are people who can lend the machinery. So use those machineries. So then what happens is when you look at that kind of an option, the amount of money that you require comes down. And then you start making your product. Once your product is successful, then your money starts flowing in. Then you can start developing your own, company or whatever it is, infrastructure. So where does the fund come from? As I said, personal bank loan and a lot of joint ventures are available. You can just, the whole world is there in front of you, and a lot of ventures are there. And I'll give you a couple of them. Like I said, the accelerators are there, and so on and so forth, who can help you with a lot of funding. And the second one, which I wanted to tell you, was about B. B is very important because, to come to a small point that every one of us to understand, because I believe in giving some of my inputs or sharing some of my thoughts to the whole world sometimes, so that, I have a microbiology lab, but, I try to also keep a lot of bee hives around, not only in front of my lab, but around to increase the biodiversity. Because if the bee disappears from the surface of the globe, the man would have only, if entire bees disappeared from the surface of the globe today, man would have only 4 years of life left. No more bees, no more pollination, no more plants, no more animals, and no more man. This is what Albert Einstein said, and it is very, very true. Now, but this is something that we have to keep at the back of the mind. But you can use this wonderful bee to business. You can use the honeycomb and you can use the bee. The bees directly for pollination. You can use the honeycomb of the bees to produce honey, to produce bee wax, and even directly bee as AP therapy. So this, if you look at this slide, then you will get an idea. Yes, I can do business with an insect. So the questions that will come to you: where can I get this insect? How can I develop these? Honey by the stinging of the bees. How can I develop it? So then you start your homework. You start a board, you start thinking about it, and then you start pinning in a lot of your ideas, a lot of your suggestions, getting friends. Do that kind of an exercise for anything. I've given you the example of one Saccharomyces cerevisiae and another one Epicerana. There are plenty of such things in the real world, including a lot from chemistry, engineering, and so on and so forth. Now, as a young guy or as an young old, one of the examples where you can go. One of the examples. I'm just giving you one of the examples because I'm involved in identifying some of these projects that come to the Center for Cellular and Molecular Platforms, also called CCCAM Bangalore, where I'm one of the reviewers for this particular platform. And that's in Bangalore. And you can see that this is an initiative of the Department of Biotechnology. And the basic idea was that it is going to be an enabler. It is going to be a mentor. And it is going to enable you to pitch your ideas and take it forward. So it is an enabler of the cutting edge life sciences research and innovation in the country. It acts as a bridge between the entire Indian academy and the industry. And they provide access to and training on high-end technologies. They create newer technologies through innovations, through in-house research and development. And they offer the complete entrepreneurial support to innovators for creating impactful innovation. So here is a stop where you can get everything that you require for developing your own company, starting from understanding that whether your idea is commercializable, and then they give you the seed fund. Once you apply for it, then it goes to the experts. The experts look at it, and you already have to put in a mentor. When you send these projects, you have to identify a mentor, put that mentor. So a lot depends upon the mentor that you choose. You may have a good idea, but you need a strong mentor. And then you take this forward and apply it to this particular place, and you get a funding 25 lakhs, 50 lakhs. They have got a lot of equipment with them as well. As a unit, they also have a lot of use on non-profit basis. And see, how do they nurture the bio-entrepreneurs? They seed fund. How? Through Niti Aayog, through BIRAC, to BNV, to Nested, to Incubators or KIDS. Then they incubate also. They provide you laboratory space and they mentor. They provide you, they conduct a lot of workshop and networking events. Then they also accelerate by various programs. So it's a complete ecosystem for transforming budding ideas, not only in biotechnology, but in the entire life sciences into major startups and a lot of commercial ventures. So this is something, is one such platform available to every youngster, and the old people who can put in their project and carry it forward. Exciting funding opportunities you can see. There is a big scheme. There is a BIRAC seed fund. There is an Agri COE program. There is a Sparsh SIP program. There is a METI seed fund. There is a CCCAM Next Venture fund. There's a BIRAC LEAP fund. So many kinds of fundings available apart from the angel funding, venture capitalist and startup advantage system. And so the students, you should understand that you are in a climate, you are weathered in a climate which has got enough opportunities to get the money, provided you have a strong idea and a strong will to take it forward. So also in agriculture, they have recently on this platform in forward, and I'm going to be a part of nurturing innovations in agriculture. And this is the grand challenge. Some of the challenges that they have thrown open is that, can you develop a quick and an affordable method for testing the soil? Can we increase the shelf life of produce and minimize post-harvest losses? And then a technology for treatment of white stem borer and so on and so forth. This is just a few of the problems that we have. And you can see support is the lack of 25 to 50 lakh investment. Field trials, they provide you linkages with, for example, they might link up with us, and then we might provide the field for them to test their products and so on and so forth. So the ecosystem is filled with enough opportunities for all the students to take their ideas forward. So one of the competitions conducted by BIRAC, there are many of them. One I'll tell you, this is National BioEntrepreneurship Program. Now what it does, it helps you to connect various institutes. It creates a vibrant pool of innovators. It helps finance, and it projects Indian investment as a ready startup market globally. So what has it done so far? It's a joint initiative of the Center of CCCAM and BIRAC. And recently, about 2,000 registrations of projects were there, and of which 14 finalists were screened. And of the 45 finalists, finally, 15 finalists pitched their ideas in front of experts on the biotech industry and investment center. And totally about 2.25 crore worth of cash prizes and investment opportunities were available to these 15 finalists. So here is a place where they throw open, they invite you to give projects. Those projects are judged by the experts. Then they call you as a finalist. Then of the finalists, the very important here, the number is it's not restricted. There can be 45, there can be 100, there can be 15, there can be 20, there can be 50. The money is not the limit here, but the ideas are the limitation. So if you have a good idea and you see that about 2.25 crores were invested to these 15 finalists. And recently, just a couple of days back, this has come up, a competition for innovators by Merck called the Innovation Cup. And you can see that you can submit projects in various areas, and they will be awarding a prize of 2,000 euros for the winning team, about 5,000. So here is a place where you can get in, push your ideas, pitch your ideas, get those money so that you can take your products forward. How do you get started? Okay, you have listened to a lot of things, and then how do we get started? Your own venture. I told you a couple of minutes back about the bee and also about the wine. Now, the same thing I'm going to put it in a different way. You have to determine your startup idea, because you have to know what your skills are and what training is required for you to be successful. And a lot of research has to be done. So when you plan something new, research always helps. and let it sink in your mind and keep regurgitating in your mind. Keep thinking about it so that you can generate for yourself the answer to the question, am I ready for it? Is my ideas good? And so on and so forth. But then one important thing you have to keep in mind is that, it's a risky business, of course. So if you are already having a job, this thinking about having your own entrepreneurship or enterprise should be a part-time job. So if you already have a 9-to-5 job, keep that going. So what I'm trying to tell the students is that, you don't have to immediately jump into starting your own company. You can join somewhere, settle yourself for some time, get your money, save some money, and then get your ideas flowing in. You don't have to leave a 9-to-5 job immediately to take up this exercise. You got to test your market and then understand the target audience and shape your idea before you finally leave your job for something else. Decide if working from home is possible, because if you can work from home, many of the people nowadays have a good home, and then if they have a good home, a small place for their office, and if you can begin from there, you would have less of amount to be invested. And the legal structure, as I told you, if it is a limited company or a sole proprietorship. Limited company, of course, is a complicated process, but a sole proprietorship can be a simple process, and you are responsible for yourself. And then you have to have a strong customer relationship management tool. Suppose you have a product, now who are the customers to it, and how you can link with those customers. It's something that you have to keep in mind so that you can track your leads. So coming to where I am from, we have done a lot of things with undergraduate students, and we have done about 4 Ideathon workshops and 1 workshop on startup culture and mentorship during this particular year. And about 60 groups presented their ideas and 35 shortlisted. Of these 35, 18 groups were funded to develop the prototype, and all these 18 groups are now developing their prototype. Apart from these 18, 9 other students were selected for financial support from the Deshpande startup, sandbox startup in Hubli. Now remember, what I'm trying to tell you is that any organization, in your case the college, can put in a lot of efforts to get these Ideathon workshop done and then mentor the students. I mean, remember, such a thing did not exist about 2 years back in our university. Now we have 18 groups working on developing the prototype, and my project is funding much of their amount. And remember, they need many of the things are available in the university. They have got these materials, they've got those things available. A little bit of help is required for them for some support, and we have provided as little as 7 lakhs from our end towards the development of these products. But all the other amounts and other things that are required comes from their respective departments to which they are attached to for developing the particular product. And this is the incubation facility we have at US Dharwad, which is thrown open to the incubators. You can see that, a common instrumentation facility. And this is the infrastructure that we have with respect to the glass house and so on and so forth. And then the current incubators that we have in our university are about 6. So one is the Agri Solutions LLP, the Future Biotech, the Agri App, the Health Pal, and the Nourish Food. And then these are the areas where they work: Kickstart Nutrients, Biofertilizers, Biopesticides, apps, genomic databases development, bioplastics, and DNA self-inhibition technology, and so on and so forth. Now, these are already companies that we have identified, and they are already working. Of course, one more name has to be added to this list. They just have basically employed a couple of people for them. So we at our university have started these exercises very, very seriously and implementing it in various stages, various phases. That is one of the things. And at our university, this is one center we have called the Agri Business Incubator. And this is a center of excellence. And we are a knowledge partner for the Raftar program. And we are handholding about 6 universities in the country. We are going there and mentoring about 6 universities in the country for developing their programs. And this business incubator was established to promote innovation, entrepreneurship, business creation in various areas by developing skills, prototypes, and technology scale-up. And right now, Krishik has scaled about 550 agri startups and funded 49 startups to over about 245 lakh rupees. So 49 startups have been funded by the university through the Krishik program funded by the government of India. So you can see that we have an ecosystem which can provide a lot of money. So there you have it. And in conclusion, for whatever I have been saying forward, you have to fuel your creativity and get started on your own venture. And remember, each of these businesses have a certain share of risks. But when it succeeds, you need to know that it is going to be all worthwhile when it succeeds. And these businesses holds the power to become great success stories. Not only you become the story creator, but also you create a platform where others tell stories about you. That is where you want to be. So what is entrepreneurship? It's about enjoying the journey. It's tackling a serious problem or requirement. See, when you can look at the world, what does it require? What does the customer require? What is not available in the market? Or what is it that is to be updated or added value to that particular problem? And then, of course, if there is a serious problem, like, there are so many things which we can say and think. And then taking risks is absolutely important. And remember, patience is a big word. You have to take time to think. You have to take time to understand. You have to take time to interact with people. You have to take time to develop a business plan. You have to take time to go to people and interact with them. So a lot of these taking time requires a lot of patience from your end. And remember one thing, you have to manage your wants. Greed is something that we all human beings have. I always tell that human beings are no longer social animals. They are merely self-centered, selfish animals. So greed is there. But let that greed be channelized into enabling a good ecosystem for economic growth of the country and for the economic growth of all the people around you, while you burn your stove to feed yourself. Ensure that you also develop yourself to feed the food to many other families in the country. That's where your greed should go. Your greed should be to feed other people. My greed is to feed other people, to bring them into an area where they can also live happily. So that is the kind of option that you need to think in your mind. Just to quote Madhu Pandit Dasa, who is the chairman of Akshay Patra, 3 things are required for creating anything. One is Gyan, knowledge or intelligence. The other one is Bal, that is strength. The last one is Kriya, which is skill. And remember, you are not born with it. You've got to acquire these qualities. And it is up to you to acquire these qualities. You have to think big. You have got to acquire these qualities and take your life forward where you can look back and say, I have done. Now, so innovation or entrepreneurship, the world is out there for you to train your mind, to tap, to prod on, to invigorate, to discover, to invent, to invest, self-employ, and employ others. Now, remember, this is the book which I'm actually reading, Tiny Change, Remarkable Results of the Atomic Habits, just purchased about 4 days back. And what it says is something that you have to understand. It tells you a lot of things where I skipped a couple of pages, but I started off. Now, James Clear is a person who was playing baseball. And that's the first chapter. And what happened to him? You read the book and you will understand what happened to him. Now, true successes are not born from one big, huge step. It's birthed from daily, small, but consistent. To give you an example, bamboo can barely be seen for the first 5 years, but it builds an extensive root system underground before exploding 90 feet into the air within the next 6 weeks. So a strong root is what you need to, and this is one of the aspects that you can see in the atomic habits. Small habits, 1% change, which accumulates to 365% over a year. So it's not that you need to immediately become a millionaire. You can just 10 lakhs and keep going on. But remember, you're a human being who is not selfish. That is what you have to understand. And then the success will flow into you very happily. The minute you think that you're doing it for the nation, the minute you think that you're doing it for the people around you, the minute that you're thinking that you're a social entrepreneur to bring many families in this world into a comfortable position, that is when you will succeed. And so Remember, all the people are the same, only that habits differ. You have to have a habit which is positive and take you through the world. So embrace the baby steps now more than ever. Thank you very much. Okay, I think I am through and I can tell a lot of stories, of course. If there are some questions which I can answer them.
My dear students, if any one of you have any questions to ask to us, you can ask now. Do you have any doubt? I think they are the UG students, sir.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
it has to
so-
sink in their mind that you are still young.
Yeah, sir, just gave a lot of information about the startups and how to become an entrepreneur and how to start and more about the startups. Do you have any doubt or do you have any idea? Dear students?
No questions is small, no doubt is small. All are major doubts. Remember that.
Yes. Students? Students, can you hear me? Sir, this is the first time they are hearing a talk like this.
Okay, that's good.
And
Okay.
also that a webinar, it is a more better you have to come over here and you have to discuss and chat with our students and then you have to do the things.
Oh, sure. I mean, when an opportunity comes, I'll come over.
We know the difficulty of the webinar also.
Yeah, I'm personally not fond of webinars. I always
Yeah.
avoid webinars.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah. Yeah, Abhishek.
good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, what type of sectors can I choose for the entrepreneurship?
What kind of sectors?
Yes, sir.
What kind of sectors, right? That is your question.
Yes, sir. What kind of sector can I choose after completing?
What kind of sectors? That is what area you can start your startup, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll tell you a story. Now, this is a story of a person from Tamil Nadu. I do not know which city actually. And this is a lot of disturbance.
Yeah, Abhishek, you can mute your,
Okay, ma'am.
yeah, sir will discuss.
Okay, I'll tell you a small story, and that should answer part of your question. Part of your question, I'll answer out of the story. Now, here's this guy was illiterate at that particular point of time, but today he owns a chain of restaurants throughout the world. Today he owns a chain of restaurants throughout the world. That is what this gentleman was. Just a roadside, he was thrown into the Bandra railway station one night, and he cried his way through that night. But after that, he never cried. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the sector that you choose is not dependent upon your current expertise. Keep that in mind very strongly. Like somebody asks me, what will you do after retirement? I said, I'll start a company. So immediately they said, you're going to manufacture biofertilizers. I said, I'm sorry, I won't even bother to look at biofertilizers. I'll go into some other area. And I had to explain to him what the other areas were. So it is your passion, it is your interest, it is your inner strength that you have. That is more important. And then you have to literally scout the entire area to look for what you need to get into. For example, I'll tell you, we had of course, you can always go through this. It's Dr. K.K. Narayan on the website. And this gentleman was an agricultural expert. And he was working for a company called Metallics. And then he owned metallics for some time. But then, post almost about 60 years, 58 years or 60 years, he said, I'm going to leave this particular job and start a food company. So he started a food company now, and he's developing products for the younger generation, because the younger generation looks at ready-made food. So he has now developed his own. It's called the soul food, SOULFOOD. So he has developed. No, he's an agriculture expert, an expert at enhancing their yield. But he has moved into food production, and that too commercial food production, which are immediately consumable. That the sector that you choose, that's what I said. You have to sit, think, and then scout the entire place for a sketch. For example, another entrepreneur who happens to be my genetics and plant breeding teacher. Now he is actually a breeder and a plant breeding scientist. He could have gone into the seed business, but what he did was he used his inner strength, and he is now developing small missions for the farmer. And he is now lecturing for the engineering colleges. He's an agriculture scientist, and he now lectures to an engineering graduates. So what is important at this particular point of time is to understand your inner strength, your inner desire. Okay, I'll tell you what happened. Now, there was this guy whose father and mother, they are both agricultural graduates. So the son, after the second PUC, when you actually choose your area, maybe engineering, medicine, or whatever it is that is generally followed these days, he said, I don't want to study now. The parents got a shock of their life. What is this guy telling? He's a good student. He scored 90, 95s and all those things. And he said, I don't want to study anymore. What does he want to do? I want to play music. So we should give hats off to those two, those parents, the father and mother, who said, okay, go to the world. But they gave a rider. You go to a university which gives you an option of choosing life sciences as well as music. Okay. So what he did was, he was a very intelligent guy. He first went into the Raman School for music, and then spent some time there. Then came back, and then took an admission in the US University, and then took life sciences as an option. But then he had a major. As a major, he also took music. So see, he is balancing. He's trying to balance himself. That means, if I can put my expertise, my passion in music into a life earning stuff, then I'll go into music. Otherwise, I'll take a back step and then get into the life sciences opportunity. So what I'm trying to tell you is that for a zoologist, if you are a zoology graduate, the world out there is open, because you are a student. For you, zoology also means human beings, because human beings are also animals, right? Agreed, Abhishek? I think you will agree with me. Yours is muted, so I will not know your answer, but I assume that you will agree with me when I say that human beings are animals as well. So assuming that
I can't hear your voice, sir.
No, mine is not muted.
Now he's hearing.
Okay. See, so Abhishek, you should understand that you are an animal, and then the world out there is open for you. So you look into opportunities. Let's say I need to get into health sciences, health sector. Okay. Now, plenty of people around are having a lot of problems. And many of these problems, I'll tell you, are psychosomatic. They will imagine they have a headache. Seriously, Abhishek, seriously, I'm telling you, they will imagine they will be having a headache. They will not have. There are no clinical symptoms to tell that they have a headache. If there is a machine that will test the headaches, it will never be there. They say I'm having fever, but when you put a thermometer into the mouth, it will be showing 98.6. Some of these are psychosomatic, no? And then there are some others where a small thing is required. I had this example of one of the my friend's friend. was taken to just hold on a minute. Huh? Shidu, another 5 minutes, another 10 minutes. Yeah, I'm giving the webinar. Another 10 minutes, I'll be there. Okay. So my friend's friend was suffering from some kind of a viral attack. And then this guy was taken to Davangere Medical College. And then the doctor told him to take back, and maybe on the way he will be dead. So the guy was in a jeep surrounded by some people, and there were some others also who were there in the jeep, and they were taking them to the native place. In that jeep, during a conversation, one tells, you have him up. You leave him for dying. You have already left him for death. We will go to the local place, which is hardly about 10 kilometers from here. I know a person who can give a medicine, which might take care of him. So they go to that particular person. They take a detour for the entire jeep takes a detour for about 10 minutes because they are driving in a vehicle where they're assuming that the person will be dead by the time they reach their native place. So one of them said, we'll take 10 kilometers off. They took 10 kilometers off. That gentleman, they gave them a medicine. And today that fellow is happily living. Absolute good health. So there are health sectors where you can concentrate on develop, medicines, and then you can become counselors as well. While you develop a company which looks at health solutions, you can also be pull in counselors. You can pull in Ayurvedic specialists. You can pull in even the regular doctors. You can pull in certain people and develop what is known as health solutions, a company for health solutions. Giving one of the ideas where, as a zoologist, you can understand the systems, the entire biochemistry of your system. Because after all, if there is a biochemistry conking off, that's when you have a problem. If there is enough good amount of pure blood pumping into your heart, I think you'll be fine. But if there is more of impure blood, then you will have a problem. So similarly, if your biochemistry of the body is fine, or the animals are fine, then you can do that. So, and how do you gain that expertise? You go into the places where they do that and gain expertise. See, for starting a company, you don't have to have a degree. You only have to have knowledge. You can employ people with degree if you want, and put in your knowledge. So you can think in various ways in order to get your things going on. I just gave you one option.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I think there are no more questions, and I take it as my last one for today to thank all of you once again. I had very less time in preparing for this talk, so I piecemeal some information. I hope it has been useful, and the time spent, maybe an hour or so with me, has been slightly fruitful. Even if it has been 10% useful or 5% useful, it's fine for me.
No, sir, it's a very, very useful to us. You gave a very elaborated that is discussion and clear Abhishek's. I also thank Abhishek to ask this question to us, sir. So
see, I'll tell you one more example to Abhishek before I leave for today. We had this bachelor student of mine, and his hobby was actually photography. And he was a bachelor's in agriculture. Okay. Then there was a time that has come for I was just talking to him one day, and I asked him after he passed out. I asked him, "Where are you?" He said, "Sir, I'm in Mysore." I said, "What are you doing in Mysore?" He said, "I've started a company." I said, "What company?" "Wedding planner." Graduate in agriculture has become a wedding planner. And what he does, all sorts of photography and other things. Now, his passion for photography has led him to take up this particular assignment. And I immediately gave him a job. My job. My daughter's wedding was completely taken over by him. I did not know how I was doing it. I had no idea what he would do, but I said, he is my student. I need to help him out. I gave him the complete freedom. So he did very well. Here is a person who has done his bachelor's in agriculture, that went on to become a wedding planner, and he's doing life very good because he had a passion for photography, and he's using that photography and his skills in general art. General art is keeping him very good. So Abhishek, don't get bogged down, but whatever you expertise, look into the world as a big canvas where you can paint your desires.
Yes, sir, of course, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can you permit our students to do their little research works or any other training programs in your university?
Yeah, it can be done. We have to have an MOU, and one-to-one basis, it can be done.
Yeah, first we have to do the MOU, is it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, can we do any collaboration work with us to help us to start some other things here? Any little project or?
If your faculty is ready to interact with us, we have no problems. The university throws open its doors for you.
No, can you, that is in our place.
That's what I'm telling you. We can handhold and support you from, because see, but personally, I'll give you my example. I have projects running in other campuses where I'm just a co-investigator, but I don't get any grant from that particular project.
Okay.
I'm just a co-investigator. That's all.
Okay.
Because I give them the discussion. I go to them whenever they would need. That's it.
Okay.
And one of them is actually listening to me right now.
Oh, so
They've logged in.
So
That co-investigator is logged in and is listening to me right now.
Oh, it is
But
logged.
in that particular project, I did not get any money for my university. But I
Okay.
took the permission from my university to be only a mentor in that particular project, a co-investigator only to mentor that particular project. So that can be done. Any person in the university, if you are interested in any particular this one, and we have expertise in our university, it can be done.
So you can guide us for this, to get
Not
this
only me, the
project,
entire
the
university can guide you.
co-investigator. Oh,
Only me, the entire university, wherever
university.
we can guide you. Not a problem.
Okay, sir. Just please ask them that can we do any MOUs because we belong to the Arts and Science College.
There's no this thing. I know
No
between
restrictions.
any colleges. No.
Okay, so you can do
You can
with
have
any
MOU with
college.
anybody.
Okay, okay, sir.